FingerSkateSelective. FingerSkateSelective. FingerSkateSelective.
FSS's Tape and Box Workshop.
What up, homies? It's FingerSkateSelective here. Welcome back to Tape and Box Workshop number 10. Anyway, today we're going to be making a three-sided pyramid. That's right. Now, originally I wanted to make a bowl, but after trying a few different methods, the best thing I could come up with is what I refer to as the casserole dish.
The casserole dish.
And it is really, really whack. It's not smooth. It's not fun at all. So, yeah.
It is what it is.
So I've got to put the bowl on hold until I can figure out an easy and effective way to make one. But one thing that we haven't made yet is a pyramid box, so let's see what we can do here. I haven't tried this yet, so I'm gonna be making it up as I go along. You don't have to make what I'm making. If you get inspired to make a different kind of ramp, that's good. Or if you want to try and work along with me, pause the video when you need to. Things you will need: wide tape, some boxes, schnippers, a marker, a super sharp knife.
Warning!
Make sure you're under adult supervision when using a sharp knife, because they are very dangerous and you can get cut, so be very, 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 very careful if you are using a knife.
Alright.
So I think that's all we'll need. First things first here. I know what I want to make, a three-sided pyramid, so I'm going to look at what I have available here, and I think this would be a good size for the main deck part of the ramp. Now, I'll put an angle coming up this way, one on this side, and one on this side. So that would be pretty good, right?
Yes.
Okay then. So, make sure it's empty. First thing I'm going to do is tape this shut where it's closed, just so it doesn't move, because I want that to be nice and solid. You could put something in there, but I'm not really worried about that. I think it'll be okay, but what do I know? So right now, I'm just taping this shut. I'll go ahead and wrap it all the way around for some extra support. And because I like to waste tape. You already know. Alright, so there's our main part of the pyramid. Now, I think I need my three sides, right? I need one here, and one here. The back, I'm just going to leave regular. That way I can push it up against a wall or something. We'll just have an open side over here. So I'm going to take my other box here, and I think I'm just going to cut the big side off so I can use that, and the other big side. So I have two big old flat pieces. So let me go ahead and do that. Alright, so now I got two big flat pieces, so those could be my sides, maybe? We'll figure that out in just a minute. But I'm gonna need a third side for the front, so that's why I have a spin wheel box.
Spin wheel box.
So I'm gonna cut off this front, so I'll have my third section here. Here we go. Alright, so now I've got three pieces here. I got one for the front, and I got my two side pieces. So, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the two sides. I'm going to figure out where those are going to be. I'm going to cut them. I'm going to tape them in place. Then, I'm going to set my front panel up and go from there. We're going to have to cut these at weird angles, and we're going to have to cut the front at a weird angle. We're not sure what that angle is yet. First thing we want to figure out is about how steep we want our angled pyramid sides. And we don't want them too steep, maybe about like that. So I guess I'll start with one side here. Let me figure it out. Probably about like that. That looks good. I want to have somewhat of a mellow yellow. Let me get that about where I think it would be good. Right about there. Then I'm going to mark it. Alright, now I could measure and go fancy, but I think I'm just going to go for it and cut straight along. Just like that. Perfect. Now let me see here. Yep, that looks pretty good. Now as you can see, I left it super duper long. I did that on purpose, believe it or not. Now I'm going to put this edge right against the back edge of the box, and I'm going to mark where the corner is so we know how long it is. Now I'm going to draw an angle down. Just like that. See what I did there? Right there. Now, I'm going to go ahead and cut that line, I think. I didn't make a practice piece, so I'm not really sure if this will work or not. Like I said, I'm just going for it. But we'll get it to work. Remember, when you're making a tape and box workshop ramp, it doesn't have to be perfect. It's just for fun. If something isn't working out how you thought, it's not that big a deal. So don't ever get frustrated. You can always fix something. You can always make it work. Just take your time. Think about it. I'm not telling you what I'm doing here either. It's a secret. No. What I did is I cut out my piece like this. which I think will work. Instead of figuring out the other side, I just laid it on my other flat piece, just like a template, and now I'm cutting it out right along the piece. That way I have two pieces that are exactly the same for my side. Actually, let me go ahead and erase that if I can. There we go. Alright, now this angle here, I'm not even sure if I cut that right. That might be way off, but I'm just guessing. It looks like a really cool angle though, doesn't it? Like if the front piece was on there, so it looks pretty good, just eyeballing it, and that's basically what we're doing. So right now, since we have these two side pieces, that's exactly what we got, is two side pieces. So there we go so far. Can you see that? Yeah. Alright, so I'm gonna go ahead and tape those on. Remember, anytime you put tape on a cardboard ramp, you want to make sure the tape is as flat as possible on any of the writing surface. I'm gonna make sure it's lined up perfect. I'm just gonna get them stuck on there for now so I can work and figure out the front piece. I'm not gonna go bananas taping it yet. I'll do that at the end. But right now, I just want to get it to stick. That way I can figure out what's going on.
Line up the back with that. Make sure it's flat.
So that's what we got so far. Wow, that's really flimsy. But when we're done, if we need to stick something under there, we can do that. So it's no big deal. And already I can tell that from this edge right here, all the way over to here is very long. I'm not even sure if this will reach. No, that is super duper long. Yikes. So it might take more than one piece. Now what I'm doing is I'm turning it around, and I'm gonna do this kind of a weird way. I'm gonna put this corner right against this corner, and I'm gonna lay it flat down like this. Then I'm gonna take my marker and carefully try and trace it, which isn't gonna be easy. Alright, let me double check here. Yeah, that's not working. Alright, let me try it this way. Alright, so now when I have it about where I think it's going to be, I'm going to trim it a little bit. I'm going to leave it extra big. Then I'm going to put it back on there and see how close I am. Okay, that's terrible. This side it will work if I cut a little bit more off. I'm going to cut a little bit more. So holding it up there again, I'm going to try and take my marker. It's very hard because it wants to move on me. That's okay. That's okay. I'm taking my time. I'm not getting frustrated with it. I've got my line on here. I'm going to go a little bit outside my line and leave it a little big. That way I keep room in case I got to trim more. The top up here looks pretty good, and I just need a little bit more off the center of this here. I wish I could show you, but I can't hold it very well. Okay, let me see here. Alright, let me try and take a little bit off there. Let me try that. Alright, so I think that's close enough. All I did is, you saw, I laid the piece on there. I traced it more than a few times. I trimmed it big each time, left it a little bit bigger, and yeah, just kept doing that until I got it pretty close. And close is where I'm going to leave it. Now I'm going to tape it on just to see where we're at. Obviously I'm going to have to use a second piece over there, but that's okay. As long as we keep our tape flat, we should be able to use it. So it's all good. Now this one's tricky. Alright. So, whoa, it's kind of short. That's okay. Front's going to be extra steep. But as you can see, we're going to have to cut another piece off there. Try and keep my tape flat, not easy. Yeah, that's steep, but it will work. Alright, so there's where we're at so far. It's kind of wacky-dee. Let's see here. Is this piece big enough? I think it is. Alright, and that's a good starting point too. So I'm going to chop that off, and I'm just going to keep working at it just like I did the other side. I'm going to line up the points and go from there. So, I'm sorry if I'm not holding it good where you guys can see it. Kind of a tricky one here. I wasn't holding it in the right spot. There we go. Alright, I'm just taking a little bit at a time. I'm not trying to take it all at once. Trying not to get frustrated. This one it would be easy to get frustrated with, I can tell. Just a little bit more, I think. Alright, I got my piece somewhat fitting in there. So now I'm going to go ahead and tape it. Not crazily. I'm just going to tape it so it sticks on there and I can see where I'm at. These angles are tricky, but like I said, just keep working at them. Get them as close as you can. Obviously we're going to have a bump there. Not much I can do about it. But that's what taping box is all about. You're making a ramp that's free other than the cost of the boxes. So, you know, even if it isn't perfect when you're done, as long as it's usable, you got a ramp for free. So you can't really complain. Alright, so there's where we're at so far. Now, I know it's been kind of hard to see because I've been all in there, but basically you saw what happened. We started with the main deck part, which is just a box right in the center. I put my 2 side pieces on there. I basically just guessed at these front angles. I cut out one side, cut it all out. I traced it on the other side piece, cut it out, the same exact size as this one, taped on my sides, and then I'm working out the front now. So yeah, the angles are tricky, but just take your time. Leave your cuts extra big if you need to. I'm gonna tape up where this gap is. Alright, when I use any of my Taping Box Workshop ramps, I always tape the obstacle down. So if it's not 100% flat, like this edge right here, actually it's really not bad. It's pretty flat, except for right here. But when I tape it down, it's going to be perfect. It is a little bit flimsy, so before I tape it down to use it, I might stuff, what are they, the plastic bags that you get at the grocery store, like Walmart, the plastic bags. I might stick those underneath these, then tape it down to use it. But there it is, a very simple 3-sided pyramid. It doesn't look the best, but as you can see, it isn't that bad. The front's a little bit steep, but for free, like I said, it's not too bad. So what I'm going to do now is go ahead and tape on the under part and just get it extra taped up, leaving it as smooth as possible. Then I'll go ahead and stick my plastic bags underneath there. I'll tape it down and I'll try it out. I'll do some tricks on it for you. Alright homies, as I mentioned before I tape this down to do tricks on it, I am going to stick some of the bags underneath there. Not a lot, just some to give it a little bit of extra support. Nothing crazy. Maybe even one for the front and one for the side. So just a little tip there. If your ramp is too flimsy, break out the bags.
It is what it is.
Woo! What? Right on, guys. I hope you dug it. It might be one of the ugliest ramps I've ever made in Taping Box Workshop, but it's also one of the funnest. Not even gonna lie. I'm right-handed, so I'm really tearing up these 2 angles, but this one works just as good. It's not too bad. I did put the bags underneath there, as I said I would. I taped it down like you should with any cardboard ramp. You always want to tape that down so that you can ride onto it somewhat smoothly. But it's pretty cool. If you don't want to make a pyramid, make any kind of ramp you want. But if you do make a ramp, you ought to snap a picture of it, send it over to FSSPictures@yahoo.com, and I'll show it in my next episode of Taping Box Workshop, kinda like these here.
Let's check out your ramp.
Frankie finger dance. Frankie finger dance. Frankie finger dance. Frankie finger dance. Frankie finger dance.
Awesome job on the ramps, Bubbas and Bubettes. You guys kill it.
That's for sure.
Thank you guys for checking out this episode of Tape and Box Workshop. It is what it is. Make sure you guys are checking out all my other weird videos. They're down there or somewhere around here. Check them out, and I will see you guys sooner than later.